Morgan, how do you go about turning the page after a tough loss last night?
Yeah, I mean, obviously a big game tomorrow, so it's, not hard. We got to refocus, and obviously we have some improvements to make and some things to work on. So that's where all our focus is, and it's a great opportunity for our group. It's a good challenge, and we'll be ready to go.
What do you take away from last night, if anything, or do you just kind of flush a game like that?
There's always stuff to take away, but ultimately we got to do what we got to do to prepare for tomorrow night. So that's where our focus is. There's always little takeaways, but ultimately, we know what to expect from them. So it's on us to get prepared and play well tomorrow.
Where does it start for the group tomorrow night?
Competitiveness and execution, I think, is what it comes down to most nights ultimately. And then there's lots of things within that, within our structure, within how we play, that we need to clean up. But ultimately, it's up to our group to go out there and execute and play as though your season's on the line.
Morgan, that's the longest-serving guy on this team, and you bled blue and white. How difficult is it to watch fans leaving in the second period and jerseys being thrown on the ice?
Yeah, it's tough, but they have the right to do what they want to do, and for us, we need to improve and play better, and we expect to have a team that is going to go out there and win and compete, and when that doesn't happen, everyone's upset.
This is a fan base that's pretty dejected right now. There's a lot of negativity online. How do you avoid all of that when you've got a game to play?
Everyone's different. For me, I think it's pretty simple. But I think ultimately our group just, has to do what we have to do to get ready to play. Again, for me, I think it's pretty straightforward, and I think that our guys are just going to stick together today and just get ready for tomorrow.
Morgan, what stood out about Florida's offensive push in Game 5? What made them difficult to defend against?
They played well. They played hard. I don't think that there's one thing that jumps out. I think we know what to expect from them, and that goes for tomorrow night. So that just puts more of the emphasis on us to be ready to go.
Was there anything said collectively amongst the group after the game last night, Morgan?
Yeah, for sure there was. And again, we're just getting ready for tomorrow.
You've obviously been with this team a long time and obviously been through these playoffs, ups and downs, roller coasters, whatever before. But for you personally, given where you are in the playoffs and the magnitude of the game, how disappointing was last night's performance?
Yeah, obviously very disappointing. But at the end of the day, whether we lost the way we lost last night or you lost in overtime, whatever it is, we're still in a position where we're ready in the fight. We got to go down there, we got to play our best game, and that's what we're focused on. So, you can dwell on all kinds of things and be upset about effort or whatever, but I believe that this team cares, and we're in a position now to go down there and win a very important game for our team.
How hard is it not to dwell on a bad bounce in Game 3? Could have put you guys up in overtime, 3-0.
I think you'll drive yourself crazy if you dwell on those things. Look around. There's all kinds of bounces happening, and that's just part of the game. So I don't think anyone can dwell on that stuff.
I know you talked a little bit about just seeing the fans leave and how tough it is, but as a player, when you're sitting there on the bench or on the ice and you see them leaving, what goes through your mind?
Honestly, most of what we're thinking about, what we're focused on is the game and ourselves and what we need to do to improve. And, this team and the fans are closely linked, and we have passionate fans. But, in a time like this, I would hope and I believe that what our team is really focused on and needs to be focused on is ourselves and playing better.
Morgan, no one doubts the care at all, but what's it going to take to execute on this stage where it just hasn't happened?
Yeah, just giving more, digging in more. I think this time of year, like I said, I think it comes down to execution and being competitive. that's what these games are right now. They're extremely competitive, and everyone left is a good team and a good player and has depth and all the rest of it. So it's about giving more and as a team, just being ready to compete.
What was your takeaway from last night, and what needs to change moving forward here?
I think we need to change a lot, obviously. That wasn't our best game. But first and foremost, it's about putting it in the rearview mirror and going forward. So we're just looking at the next challenge and going to approach tomorrow's game with everything we have.
What's your process when it comes to watching a tough loss like last night?
I think after each game I go for a walk. I take that 20-30 minutes to think about it, and then I flush it from there. It's in the past. You can't change it. So that's kind of my process on how I handle it. But I think once you can shift your mindset to the opportunity aspect of it all, we still have a great opportunity here. So we should be excited and ready for the challenge tomorrow.
You haven't been here that long, Ben, but before last night's game, did you sense a collective nervousness at all amongst the group heading into the game?
No, I wouldn't say so. I think, that would be something that I didn't really get a grasp on, I guess you could say. I think we come in, we have the same process each and every day. Guys have their routines, we go through those, and you try and prepare yourself as best as possible for the game. The game just didn't go in our favor.
Brandon, what's stood out about Florida's offensive push in Game 5 that made them so difficult to defend?
Yeah, I think they did a good job of, getting to their style of game. They were throwing a lot of pucks towards the net. They play hard on the forecheck, things like that. So we just need to mitigate that a little bit, have some better depth, get some pucks out of our own D zone, and work towards the offensive zone in the other way.
You've obviously been in the other dressing room in a playoff battle against this team and knowing when they're in a hole. What have you learned from being inside this dressing room about how they respond to this kind of situation?
Yeah, I think this group as a collective whole is a very tight-knit group. This is a special group as well. I have the utmost faith that, these guys are ready to, take the next steps. So I think for me, just being a part of this group, seeing the way that everything functions, I've really enjoyed it, and I've really enjoyed being here. So I have a lot of belief in this group, and that hasn't changed one bit.
You haven't been here obviously that long, but you've been part of the Maple Leafs on the other side, their playoff ups and downs. Could you sense the frustration of the passionate fan base when people are leaving early in the game, when there's jerseys thrown on the ice, those sort of things?
Sure. Obviously, in a game like that, you don't want to overthink those things too much. It is a passionate fan base. That's one of the greatest things of playing here and being a Maple Leaf, is having fans that are behind you like that. And there's going to be ups and downs for sure. I think from a standpoint of just playoff series in the past, I've been in these situations myself. Had bad games in the playoffs, certain things like that. It's not just subject to this group by any means. So I think that needs to be taken into account too.
What gives you the most confidence moving forward here?
Just focusing on our process. I think, like I said, this team is one of the most skilled teams that I've ever been a part of. If we can play the right way and kind of put all the puzzle pieces together, like we have at certain points, even in this series and throughout my time here, it's a really special group to be a part of, and I have a lot of belief that we can get the job done.
They're very good at getting under your skin. How do you approach tomorrow's game in terms of staying on the right side of discipline?
Yeah, I think the same sort of thing is just focusing on in between the whistles. There's playoff hockey. There's going to be some cross-checks, certain things, but we can't get drawn into the things after the whistles. Those are the dumb penalties that you can't make. So I think we all have a level head with that, and just try and play them as hard as we can between the whistles.
Brandon, you know Brad for a long time. What does he do well during the postseason that makes him difficult to play against?
With Marsh, I think just his competitive level, he's one of the most competitive guys that I've ever played with or played against, and that comes out huge in the playoffs. But I think it just will allow you to recognize that and try and rise your own level to match that competitive nature, and I think we can definitely do that.
We understand there was some frank discussion amongst players after the game, right afterwards. How much does that help in terms of turning the page?
Yeah, I think it's good. Recognize that, that wasn't a good night for us. Move forward from there and focus on what we can control. It's small segments. It's going out for the first shift next game, focusing on the first 5 minutes, We don't need to get too far ahead of ourselves and focus on 2 games, just 1 game at a time, and that was kind of what was discussed.
How do you go about refocusing the group today?
Yeah, I mean, we'll chat when we get into Florida, sit down and talk about things. Like I said, like we went out in the first period and just overthinking things and not playing. Like we didn't move our feet, we didn't compete, we didn't, we kind of we were tentative in the game. We can't play like that.
Coach, how disappointing is it? Like you've been telling us since you took over, the 2 things: play north-south and win puck battles. And then in a big game like that, the message has obviously been sent that it's not carried out.
Well, yeah, it's obviously disappointing for everybody, players included. They want to do well. They want to do the right thing. But sometimes when you go into a game and, it's a big game and we're at home and we overthink things. You got to trust your structure and your system. So then that takes care of the thinking, then it's just about playing, like we know what type of series it is and it's been a good series. We, the first 4 games were competitive. We're skating. We're physical. We're puck battles. All that stuff. It's just that last game was overthinking things and not playing hockey.
Once you do meet with them later today down south, Greg, what do you want them to walk out of that room with going into tomorrow? Do you think? What should they be thinking about?
Well, the things I just said, like you have to skate and you got to compete. It's going to be physical. We know that it's tight, and take the thinking out. Go play. Be aggressive. You can't not be aggressive. You have to be aggressive, and you got to get numbers in there. And then, like I said, the system and the structure takes care of the thinking. And that's what I want them to do. Like, go out and play hockey. Like, play with structure, but be aggressive.
Is part of your message to reminding them that when they have done that, things usually work out?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Like I think we'll be a lot better in Game 6.
Anthony's on the ice today.
Yeah.
Nancy travels with you guys?
I doubt it.
Yeah. Craig, you've been around this city enough in your career to know how important this team is to this fan base. And they're feeling pretty dejected today. A lot of them are saying, here we go again. And while you haven't been here for the last 9 years of what's happened here, what message can you say to those fans today? A lot of them who left the game early, a lot of them who are not feeling good about this team right now.
Well, believe like our team believes. I think that's all you can do. And I get it. I do. They're fans. I mean, they pay good money to come see the game. They want to see results. And I've been around Philly for a long time too. There's a lot of the similar stuff. I mean, it's just part of the game. I'm not focused on the fans. I'm focused on our team.
Craig, the shot volume in that last game was pretty equal, and I know the score didn't reflect that, but what else does this group need to do in order to convert on those attempts?
Yeah, the shot volume was equal, but we got to get, we got to do a better job of creating more high danger shots, in my opinion, than we did last game. Now, I'm not saying don't shoot the puck, but shooting the puck and then getting to the inside for, a next shot and a rebound and things like that. And we have to do a better job of making life more miserable on their goalie. This guy's a good goalie. He's a first save goalie. Like, he makes saves, and he's an effort goalie. So, we're gonna have to outcompete the goalie.
Some things are unexplainable, but when a team does overthink at times, in your experience, where does that come from? Is the pressure? Is it the wanting it too much?
Yeah, a little of that. Probably, you get in your head, you're worrying too much about the results and not focusing on the process. Like, that's where that comes from for me. I mean, and I've seen it before in playoffs, and I've coached it before in playoffs, so I know what they're going through.
You haven't been here, obviously, Craig, but we've seen it from the guys who wear the letters on this team that they've overthought in these exact moments. Is there any way you can get through to them specifically before games?
Just a lot of the same that I tell the whole team. They're no different than everybody else on the team. I mean, you can't go out and play the game and, like I said, focus on what the results, you hope the results are going to be. You know, you have to go out and focus on what you need to do to get results. You know, that's the most important thing. And like I said, it's this type of series that we're playing in, yes, you have to do things a certain way against this team. And it takes compete, it takes puck battles. It's like you have to have second and third effort all over the ice. And that's the stuff that we need to focus on tomorrow going into the game. Those are the types of things that you need to focus on going in that game tomorrow. Second and third effort, aggressiveness, numbers, you know, compete. That's what they should be focused on.
It's often said we learn more from a defeat than a victory. I mean, with the manner of the defeat last night, did you learn anything new about any of your players?
Did I learn anything new?
Anything new that you didn't know from the year?
No, not really. I mean, a loss is a loss. If we would have lost 2-1 and it was a close game, would it really matter today? We got beat. I've been in this situation before. You know, a loss is a loss. And, you know, we're all going to be, down and dejected, but we can't be. Today, we got to regroup. We got to get a different mindset going here, going into to tomorrow's game, and be excited to go and win a game. So that's what we got to. That's what we got to do. We got to change the whole mindset here.
A lot of talk about flushing, what happened in that game and moving forward. There's a lot of negativity out there. Do you do anything to try to, keep your players away from that? Maybe stay away from social media where a lot of that negativity is? I mean,
well, I always tell them that, but whether they do it or not, that's their choice. If you want to look at things, you look at things. So, I can't control what they do. But yeah, it's, what we need to do is they need to stick together tonight as a team and take a breath and stop thinking about the game tonight. Relax, and we'll get thinking about the game the next day when it matters. And like I said, it boils down to a few things that we need to make sure that we have in the game, aggressive, compete, puck battles, enjoying the moment. This is what guys play for, and you have to enjoy it. Don't overthink the game.